It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. We've got 3/4 of the crew with us here today. We're going to talk a little NFL situations. We'll talk college football 25, and we'll see where that brings us. I'm Caleb Gill. We've got Drew Nelson, Dillon Schroeder, Cam unable to join us this morning. Hopefully, everybody has a great weekend. I know this is going to be a long weekend for us, especially because what awaits for us at the end of this weekend is something that we've been waiting for 11 years. We'll talk about that later in this episode. But first things first, let's talk. So I came across a TikTok the other day where they were talking about quarterbacks that if they won or lost said Super Bowl, how different would their careers be looked at? So I thought that'd be an interesting debate, interesting topic to bring to the group, bring to the channel. So that's where we are going to start today episode is essentially pick a quarterback or pick a Super Bowl. If the roles were reversed, if the outcome was changed, what would the impact be following? So one of you two want to take it away and go from there?
I can start. Just pulling up the list of Super Bowls here on my other monitor. I think there's obviously a handful of different ways you could go about this. And, because you can go with the guys that have won the Super Bowl, if they lost them, how it changes, and the guys that lost the Super Bowl, if they won them, how it's changed. And there's quite obviously a lot of different examples of this. If the Vikings would have won a Super Bowl, we wouldn't be able to give Cam crap these days. But I'm going to start off going back to February of 2011, Green Bay versus Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers, his only Super Bowl. He's 1-0 in his Super Bowls, but he's only ever been to one, and that's kind of part of the knock. I actually sent Gill a TikTok earlier this week about Aaron Rodgers being a little fraudulent, only being able to go to one Super Bowl in his career versus the list of people that have gone to multiple is quite, a lot of big names there, but Aaron Rodgers is not on that list after having, lost many times to the 49ers and the Giants and whatnot during those prime years. But what if Rodgers would have lost that Super Bowl? What would he be viewed as right now today? He'd obviously still be a great player, but he'd have this, aura around him of never being able to finish, not being a good playoff quarterback, a little maybe Dak Prescott-esque, just on a Hall of Fame trajectory. I think Dak's far away from that. We'll see what Drew says after I'm done elaborating here. But if he would have went 0-1 and lost that Super Bowl, one, that makes Big Ben 3-0 in Super Bowls. So it's kind of a double-edged sword game right there. It was a pretty big game, but he'd be 0-1 in the one Super Bowl he's ever been to. Maybe that would have lit a fire and he would have been back to one by now, or he would have just been still going to his dark cave retreats. We don't know, but I think that would probably really change the trajectory of Aaron Rodgers' career. I think he'd still be great. He'd still be a multiple-time MVP, but without a Super Bowl on his resume, he'd be in that Dan Marino conversation instead of the other way around.
Cool. I'm gonna jump in so you don't steal anything from me, Gil. I don't know who you're gonna pick, but I just want to make sure I don't have to look something up again because I'm going with easy layup here is Jim Kelly actually in the Bills, because going to 4 straight Super Bowls should be something legendary. But when they're 4 straight Super Bowl losses, people just bully you and forget about it. So. And it changes a lot of things because 2 of them were Cowboys Super Bowl wins. So if he would have won even one of those, things would be different. But I just think he had the opportunity to kind of achieve a legendary elite status. Like I said, going to 4 straight Super Bowls, even winning just one, puts him in a different echelon that he's in. But unfortunately, now he's just looked at it as, yeah, the Bills were good back then, but laugh at them because they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. Bums, So
They weren't close either. They weren't close, especially
No.
those last two to Dallas.
Yeah.
The last 2 were
17,
blowouts.
30,
Yeah.
13. Like, those are disgusting.
Yeah.
But being 1-3 in Super Bowls is a lot better look than being 0-4.
Yeah, and
It's
I know a lot of
different,
those
yeah.
people, a lot of people from the day thought like the NFC Championship was really the Super Bowl those years, but they could have done something special. It's not even if the AFC was weak at the time, it's not easy to go 4 straight. So yeah, I think it's easy for me to pick Jim Kelly just because of. He had so many opportunities. Like, just flip one of those. Just flip one of those to a win. It helps you. It helps your case a little
If
bit.
they don't miss the kick against the Giants. I mean, that is the first Super Bowl of those 4. I mean, maybe if they make that kick, who knows?
Maybe
what
they win
happened.
4 straight. It's one
Right.
of those butterfly effects. It'd be crazy.
Or they don't go to any more. Like,
Yeah.
Could be that too. Yeah.
it is. I just now noticed because the whole AFC NFC thing. 1984, the Raiders beat Washington 38-9. The next AFC team to win a Super Bowl was the Denver Broncos against the Packers in 1998.
Wow, that's
A long
crazy.
time.
NFC dominance.
That's insane. But that Jim Kelly one is a great point. Because who knows? I mean, Bills fans would be a lot more chaotic if they had that one of those 4 Super Bowl wins. His career.
At least you
would
couldn't
look,
hang it over their head too.
I know.
Right?
It's like
Hey,
if
we
the
got
Vikings would have won Super Bowl 4, we wouldn't be able to hang that over Cam's head, But Jim Kelly would be looked at a lot
brings
different.
us to one we may talk about here in a couple minutes, but nonetheless.
The one I was thinking, 2007, Patriots, undefeated. They're going up against the Giants. They have a chance to be the first team since the 72 Dolphins to be an undefeated team, and they lose. I think had the Patriots won that, that'd be huge for them because they'd be that first undefeated team. I don't think Eli Manning would be looked at as a potential Hall of Fame quarterback.
Eli Manning would be nothing.
Exactly.
Eli Manning would be nothing.
I don't think the argument for Eli Manning being a Hall of Fame quarterback is him having 2 Super Bowl rings. That's cool. I get it. If they lose that, he has no argument.
Yeah,
that is a completely different look at both of those 2 teams. Randy Moss gets his... No, wait. Randy Moss was later on.
Yeah. The dudes that, they go, don't speak until this quarterback is better than, and then they did like an Eli Manning episode, and they were like glazing Eli Manning hard. And every time I don't remember who the quarterback was.
But...
Yeah. I mean, he's got longevity, so he's got good career numbers. But like he was never a top 5 quarterback in the league. Like he was always above average. He's Dak Prescott with 2 Super Bowl rings.
All right.
Anyway. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off though, Gil, if you had anything more to say.
No, I just think it'd be crazy to think like how different things would be. Because again, Patriots would have just one more Super Bowl. Brady would have another Super Bowl. That pains me to say, but that's a historic feat right there.
Yeah,
So
he'd have a Super Bowl. He'd have one more Super Bowl and an undefeated season. It would have been an unquestioned resume builder on the GOAT resume.
Right. It's things like that. That's like really how different things could be. Or if Marino would have won one. Like that's kind of I had thought a while ago. Like if Marino would have won against Washington, is he considered a top 3 quarterback before Patrick Mahomes was in the league? And that because one Super Bowl changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, like I'm looking at this list up and down, and I'm looking at like 10 every game on here. You could make a case for every single game that was ever played, and I don't want to like rattle them off and like take away from your guys' future. What you're going to pick here next, but like every single game has impact, especially for the teams that have never won a Super Bowl. I mean, that's huge. And like you're looking at guys like Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, just a bunch that they got their one chance and they didn't make do of it, and like historic comebacks, things of that nature. The next one I'll touch on is the like I said, there's so many to choose from, and I think they're all such impactful games. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. Every single time it's played, it's impactful. But I'm going to go to 2016 Denver, Carolina. If Cam Newton and the Panthers would have won that Super Bowl and would have solidified Cam Newton as one of the greatest quarterbacks we saw in his prime. He didn't have the longevity. His prime was pretty short when you think about it. But that would have been a great, just a stamp on a great year for a great team. And then, what could have been, he probably still would have got hurt against the Steelers like a year later, but what could have been for them, Peyton Manning wouldn't have went out on top with that Super Bowl. He wouldn't have retired. Well, he probably still retires after that game because he literally couldn't throw a football. But that's one more Super Bowl off of his resume and onto Cam Newton's resume. So just interesting how things work and what happens to Carolina after that year. What do they implode and become the franchise they are today or what? So that's the one I'll highlight.
Cam Newton has been getting a lot of buzz lately about.
Well, he's been ghosting his teammates apparently for 4 years.
That, but also it seems like people are forgetting how good Cam Newton was in his prime. So if he had that one Super Bowl, not as many people I don't think would forget because that dude was. He was
amazing.
He had an MVP season. Go look at who he was throwing to that year. Like Ted Ginn Jr.
Devin Funchess,
best receivers that year. Ted Ginn was never a top wide receiver. He was a returner.
Yeah.
Like that. It was bums. And yet they went 15-1.
One of the best college quarterbacks to ever do it, probably in a 1 year, like a 1 year stint of college quarterbacks. Like his last year at Auburn into the national championship was, I mean, it was as electric as it could get.
Yeah. And then Peyton Manning, I believe that was his second Super Bowl win. He had one with the Colts or two with the Colts. He was 1-1 with the Colts.
One with the Colts, yes.
1-1 with the Broncos.
Yep.
So you're looking at Peyton Manning a little differently too, because Eli has more Super Bowls than his brother, but Peyton's the one that is
his whole comeback arc for leaving the Colts never finishes his story. That whole thing.
There's a lot there.
I think I'm gonna jump in here and take mine. I was thinking of going with the Falcons just because they choked, biggest choke of all time, maybe. And
probably
they unfortunately gave Brady an ridiculous claim to his title, all because they couldn't do anything after the second quarter. So, but instead, I'm going to go a different direction that I didn't think about until just now. But what if the Saints lost and Drew Brees has no Super Bowls?
Mm-hmm.
Because
and then Peyton Manning would have more.
Yeah, I think Drew Brees should have had more based on how good he was. So he would be in kind of a
Jim Kelly,
Marino.
Yeah, he would have been
more like a Marino territory.
Yeah,
as like a talented quarterback, we can all see that, but just no Super Bowl wins. He's lucky he's got his one. I think a lot of people don't really maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's closer to being in the top 5, top 3 of quarterbacks all time than farther down the list.
Than 20 or something. 10. Yeah, 10 or 20.
10 to 15 or something like that. So
Yeah, I mean the stats on like his 5,000-yard passing seasons, like the TikToks where you
Yeah.
swipe and then it's like Drew Brees standing there. Yeah,
Yeah, he
like
had
he was
5,
nuts.
and Tom
He was,
Brady and
yeah,
had like 1 or 2, and all these other great quarterbacks have had 1 or 2.
yeah.
Yeah, his passing stats are
I
unbelievable,
mean
and that's
those
the only
those like
reason that Tom Brady broke most of them is just because of the longevity.
those
Um,
like 2010 Saints teams. I mean, they were like the epitome of the air raid offense. Like I feel like they never ran the ball ever, and it was just Drew Brees launching bombs to like Marquise Colston every highlight, and it was like wide open, just a bomb
And
every
yet they were
time.
still losing because their defense was
Yeah,
absolute dog water.
it was
Like it
always
was
trash.
gross.
but yeah, I think his reputation would be. I don't even think it's great now, so I think it would be worse if he didn't have just the 1 Super Bowl.
Like you'd be
And the
talking
Super
about
Bowl
him.
was shortly after Hurricane Katrina, so it kind of
It was
elevated it to another level. But,
it was huge for the
Yeah.
city.
yeah.
Like he'd be in one of those categories where it's is he really one of the greatest of all time, or is he just really, really good?
Yeah.
Which is two completely different things. The one I just now thought of. So you had mentioned like quarterbacks like Matt Ryan, we would look at a little differently if they would have won it. We'd be looking at Joe Flacco a lot differently if he doesn't win it. If the Ravens don't win that Super Bowl, I feel like there's a lot that could have happened afterwards. From the 49ers perspective, Colin Kaepernick would have been the game winning quarterback or the winning quarterback. So his career probably takes a different path. Jim Harbaugh's career probably takes a different path. Like there's a whole domino and butterfly effect from the 49ers losing that Super Bowl that led to now the Chargers, having
It's
Jim
kind of
Harbaugh as
funny.
their head coach.
It's kind of funny. I'm never like, oh yeah, Joe Flacco, that's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like we say
No.
how there's like quarterbacks like, oh, if they would have won, they would have had that on their resume. But then there's Joe Flacco who's like, oh yeah, I guess he did win a Super Bowl back in the day.
Like we talked about in our group chat, the only quarterbacks who win Super Bowls is Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. But that's how it was, and then you had Joe Flacco just randomly in there.
And Nick Foles.
You look at the quarterbacks at that time. At that time, it was Roethlisberger, Breeze, Rodgers, Manning, and then Flacco.
Yeah, I mean it was 2013. I mean that was in the what us old heads call the peak of like quarterback in the league. That's when all those old guys were at their primes, and Joe Flacco and that amazing defense that they did have throughout those years, because that was a Ray Lewis defense, wasn't it? Like the last
That
of
was Ray Lewis's last year because he retired after that. That had Ed Reed.
Ed Reed, yeah.
Ed Reed, and that was.
I mean, they still got 31 on their head, but
Well, that's because the power went out and just
Yeah.
electrified the 49ers offense. But from the 49ers side, I just think, as an Ohio State fan, what would have happened with Michigan if the 49ers win that? I don't think Harbaugh leaves as soon as he did.
Yeah.
I think there was more internal
It was.
issues going on there.
But how big would those
He might-
internal issues have been?
Winning solves a lot of issues, though. But
It's kind of difficult to fire a head coach. I mean, I know
that Michigan job was kind of a spot for him, though, as a Michigan QB. Like it makes sense that probably still happens, but he goes out maybe a little more on top.
that's true.
My next one, though, I have two more, but I'm going to save the last one for a bonus content. So we don't have to go around two more times, but I'll save my second one for bonus content. This one, though, I'm going all the way back to 1969. The Jets against the Baltimore Colts at the time, 16-7. What happens to the whole of Jets fandom if Joe Namath doesn't win that game? The Jets don't win that game. Joe Namath, there's no way he's even a Hall of Famer if he doesn't win that game, I don't think, with the terrible stats that he had. The video of him running into the tunnel, that would have never happened. That's like the whole Jets highlight reel, is him running into the tunnel 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So, that's an interesting game. And it's like one of those things, like we said, What if the Vikings won Super Bowl 4? Well, they would have something to fall back on. If the Jets never won Super Bowl 3, they would have nothing to fall back on of literally their history and being a New York team, literally never winning. It would be interesting.
So you want the truth on what would have happened if the Jets, the Patriots, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills, there would be no Super Bowl. There was talk, so from the history I've looked into, by Super Bowl 3, the NFL was like getting ready to nix the idea of the NFL AFL merger. The first 2 Super Bowls, the Packers won easy. The Colts were coming in. They were supposed to be better than the Packers. One of the greatest defenses of all time. They had the MVP at quarterback, and the backup was Johnny Unitas. It seemed like it was going to be an easy steamroll. Jets come in, they win the Super Bowl, and then that's what led to the AFL NFL merger. So Raiders, Titans, Broncos, Chiefs, like I had mentioned, those teams were in the AFL. The NFL merged, and we got those teams. So we wouldn't have anything after.
Talk about impact.
That's huge. In terms of Joe Namath's career, yeah, he's an MVP for that. But also, I mean, the interception touchdown ratio number is garbage. But he was also the first quarterback to ever throw for 4,000 yards in a season. So he was airing the ball out a lot more than most people were back then. But that Super Bowl, without it, he's not an MVP. I have nothing to hang my hat on. But then again, no one else, except for the Packers and the Colts, would have anything to hang their hat on. Because I don't think the NFL will be so different today. It'd be probably a lot of those teams that were in it at the time. So the Giants, Bears, Packers, those teams. I don't know if the Cowboys were in that yet.
That's a world Drew doesn't want to think about.
There's a whole, like...
I wasn't paying attention, to be honest.
That's a rabbit hole.
I can't even answer. I was looking at teams. I was looking at Super Bowl winners.
That's a rabbit hole. If the Jets don't win Super Bowl 3, the NFL is completely different today. Just because they were getting ready to just completely, nix the idea of merging with the AFL.
All right.
Good job, Jets. You saved the league.
We did.
All right, Drew, who you got?
Let's see here. I just had one. What was it going to be? There's a few, like, what if Dallas beat Pittsburgh back in the day? I was going to say, I think.
Or what if Pittsburgh beat Dallas, and then they'd be like the best ever, instead of just
a
the
little
best
bit higher up there, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Other than Tom Brady has more Super Bowls than
yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
On his own. But, anyways, I'm going to go with the Cardinals over Pittsburgh, actually. Feels like Cardinals are one of those teams where you don't get a lot of shots. Reading through the list, I think their name appears once. So being a close, especially this is one of the games where it's close. Like they could have won, and almost did win. So I think this one's a little bit easier to overturn. I think Larry Fitzgerald is looked at in a different light. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves.
Yeah, just a little bit about that too. Because I'm sorry to cut you off, Drew. I'll flip it back to you in a second.
I know you have some opinions.
I have a lot. Yeah, for sure. Because this was an amazing game. It's like the whole, quarterback throws the game-winning touchdown on the last drive of the game. Like that whole story. Like let's say it's like the play before where Santonio Holmes misses it and he doesn't catch it the next play. Like what if that was the last play of the game? Which there was still 40 seconds left, but whatever. What if that's how it ended? That would be what's looked at instead of his amazing catch. And then what people forget is like a minute before that Steelers drive started, Larry Fitz took one like 80 yards to the house and like split the Steelers defense. Troy Polamalu was running after him, couldn't catch him. Like that would be the play that is constantly ran over and over is Larry Fitz taken to the house. And that's like a forgotten play in NFL history. And that was like his second touchdown of the day. He went over 100 yards. He had a monster game. And Larry Fitz's legacy would be like
Super
amazing.
Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he'd be Super Bowl MVP. Like, he's already going to be a Hall of Famer and he's done all these great things. But yeah, just to that point. And, Santonio Holmes would be a forgotten player of NFL history and instead of being immortalized forever. So, I agree. That's a huge sway game, Drew. That's a good pick.
I'm not really sure what would happen to the Cardinals after that. I can't exactly. I don't think they'd be like repeat contenders. I don't know that nothing really changes after if they win, but at least they get to have that on the resume. 1-0 in Super Bowls.
Yeah, well, because Kurt Warner probably still retires anyway. I don't remember if he retired the next year or that year, but if he wins that, he most definitely probably retires on top, and they still probably go to irrelevance anyway. But at least they get one, and that's all it takes is just to get one on the resume.
That Kurt Warner resume would look a lot different if both of his Super Bowls, or if any of those two Super Bowls that he played in, are different. Because say he doesn't beat the Titans, and the Titans win, then it's just another story. Like, oh, that's a cool moment, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Or if he beats the Steelers, and it's like, oh, he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner.
He's got a pretty cool story nonetheless, but yeah, it definitely has an impact.
There was one.
Still not watching his movie.
Yeah, I pretty much
cool.
watched half of it on TikTok anyway, so it was trending there for like a week. I kept seeing the little clips.
Speaking of Kurt Warner, what if he beats the Patriots? That's going to be my last one, is if Tom Brady doesn't win that first Super Bowl against the Rams, do they win? Do they go on this legacy run? Or is that just kind of the end of the Tom Brady story? Do they go back to Drew Bledsoe afterwards?
Wow.
Kurt Warner would then have 2 Super Bowl rings with the Rams. I think that was that back to, would that no, it wouldn't happen back to back.
No, there was 1 year in between.
2 within 3 years. We're looking at, again, Kurt Warner a lot differently.
Warner would have been Tom Brady.
Maybe. The Rams, that was the greatest show on turf.
People wouldn't be talking about the 6th round pick. They'd be talking about the undrafted grocery bagger.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
If the Rams win that Super Bowl, I am probably a lot happier of a person. Ultimately. Because who knows what would have happened with the Patriots after that. I don't know. Like, I legitimately do not know what the Drew Bledsoe situation was like at that time. I know he was a backup, but I don't know if it was already like, all right, Tom Brady's the guy. Because it's not like he was the greatest.
It probably, because I think Drew Bledsoe was healthy, but he was the backup at that point. So, like, they had already moved on to Brady, I think.
That, and he wasn't like Brady was the one that got us here, let him see it through. Like,
yeah.
I was 1. So, like, I don't freaking know. Like, back then. But it's just weird to think about if 2 of the Patriots Super Bowls are flipped. Completely different trajectories for a lot of different people.
All right.
I got one because Dillon stole my Jets one that I was going to.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I probably should have known you were going to bring that one up.
It's okay.
All right. I got 2 for the bonus. Actually, now I have 2. I have 2 now. I just keep looking at this list and I just keep thinking of just great differences. My last one that stays on topic is what if the Bengals beat the Rams in 2022? Joe Burrow would have a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow would have a Super Bowl on his resume. I think he'd be talked about completely differently. He'd be one of the only quarterbacks not named Mahomes to win a Super Bowl in the last 10 years. First Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals and their entire franchise. Like, I think that would be that's a crazy difference if that would have happened.
Also, what does that do to Stafford?
Right. What is that? I mean, Stafford is just one of those guys again, probably maybe not a Hall of Famer now, but that Super Bowl puts him in that borderline conversation of maybe he is a Hall of Famer now.
And then
So
Sean
I think
McVay is
that's
0-2 in Super Bowls.
yeah.
Sean
So
McVay is Kyle Shanahan.
yeah, that game has a huge turnaround. Because that was Burrow's like second year in the league. Like, yeah, that would have been an amazing Paul Skeens-esque run, of accomplishments. And then my other one, which kind of switches topic a little bit, it's a similar vein, but instead of when Nick Foles and the Eagles won, what if Carson Wentz and the Eagles won? So it's a little bit of a different, it's an injury thing, but what if Carson Wentz didn't get hurt and he's the one that beat the Eagles? Is Carson Wentz still the Eagles quarterback? Does he ever go back? Is he the same player? So it's like more of a, injury what if conversation that I'm sure we could have a million episodes about. But what if that Super Bowl outcome was different by Carson Wentz playing in that game?
Well, if Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, he's probably the MVP that year. And he had already gotten a huge contract after that Super Bowl season. So would his money just be a lot higher than it already was? Because he signed a new deal after the injury and after.
Yeah, and would he'd probably still be in the league. I mean, he was not the same player, obviously, post injury than he was prior, and that completely altered his career trajectory.
It's like first round quarterbacks; they get a longer lifespan in the NFL. Joe Flacco has been around forever, in part because he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So having that little moniker definitely helps. Drew, do you have anything else before we talk college football?
I'm good. The Eagles probably would still be worse than the Cowboys, so I'm not worried about it.
The last one that video that I sent mentioned was Donovan McNabb. If he would have beaten the Patriots, because then Donovan McNabb is probably he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's not forgotten about like he is these days. So.
Things that are not being forgotten about is college football 25.
Good transition.
Most important question of the day, probably
the
last 10 years, okay? So Monday, you're going to open up college football 25. You're going to hit start.
A tear's going to roll down my face.
There's going to be a few tears, probably. You're going to see the video play, because we are watching that full video that they put before the start screen.
Yeah,
all right, we waited 10 years, 11 years for this, okay? You get to the start menu. You hit start. What is the first thing that you're doing after waiting 11 years for this game? Where's the first thing you're going when you see that full screen menu and you shed a couple tears?
I think
Dynasty.
Yeah.
You're going straight to Dynasty?
I'm clicking Dynasty, and I'm starting with Michigan.
Oh,
on my own.
Jumping on Michigan on its own.
Our group Dynasty will not be ready, I believe. So.
No, the group dynasties, plural. Those will take a couple days for people to be able to join, and we got to do drafts to make sure we're not picking the same team to start on certain things. But that's crazy. Jumping on that 99 team right
Always
off
got to
the
do
rip.
it. Same thing I got to do with in Madden. Start up my Cowboys franchise. I'm gonna do it in NCAA. It's just a nice one to have. You just want to play. You just go play as your team. And
see, I've always had trouble doing that in college football. Well, I guess it's been 10 years, so it's like it's so long ago since I can even remember. But as a Georgia fan, I just don't. It doesn't appease me to just go and do that off rip with Georgia. At least I think, and that's a great thing. I think the first thing I'm going to do is just jump into a play now game with Eastern Michigan, just because I want to see the home field and everything, and like the whole presentation, look at the baseball field in the back and be like, hey, I know that, I just want to see it. And I probably won't even play the game. I just want to see the whole intro and everything and the kickoff and all the whatever at my alma mater. But then I'm quitting the game and I am going to Dynasty and I'm starting a head coach, and I haven't figured out who I'll go with yet. Eastern could be my first one offline. Another one that I will love to do is a Kentucky Wildcats. I always like Kentucky. Fun fact, if I was good enough at baseball, I would have went there, but I was not. Anyway. So those are a couple options. And And then the first thing I got to do is load up those online dynasties and send out invites, do a little commish coordination, making sure everyone's getting ready. And then probably just look at the menu for a while and just cry tears of joy.
Just take
But
it
I pretty
all
much got my plan, my road to glory player. So back in the day, I always made a road to glory wide receiver, and I went to Georgia. So that's probably one of the things I'll do first, and go from there. But yeah, can't wait.
I think I'm going to play full game as Toledo. Just kind of get used to everything. Just kind of see how the gameplay is, and then just completely make sure that the Madden clone or Madden whatever, all that's thrown out the window.
Yeah, which it is, but
It is,
you gotta verify. You gotta do a little test
Exactly.
verify.
I'm 99% sure that it's not. I need that extra 1% to make sure. And then we'll probably.
And then
hop
I'm
on to
jumping,
Dynasty.
they're jumping straight into the playbook editor. I got to make sure my pistol offense that I've been running for 15 years in college football is still viable. I got all my plays in there that I've been running.
I got to find the flea flicker one.
Yeah, that flea flicker play was crazy.
I got to see how to do that or where that play is.
I might get a little ASU action. I've been hoping that I can use them in one of our franchises, one of our dynasties.
Yeah, because I think the first one
then I'll have to make a separate one.
Because that's what I was kind of thinking. Because we're going to do the 1 star. I was looking at it, and that's what I was thinking. I see 1 and 1.5 star. In the last games, it was just 1 or 2. So I figured 1 or 1.5. They're all going to be pretty crappy schools to start out with that we can choose from. I don't know where Eastern ranks in that. I'm sure they're a 1 or a 1.5 star school. So I don't know if I want to use that for the online dynasty or just do it myself. And then I know Team Builder waiting on the deep dive for that. My first offline dynasty will probably be Team Builder. That's the one I'm going to do the most. That's just always what I did in the old NCAA games. I made my own school and tried to build them up to greatness. All the and then you go to the school history page and all the wins and losses. It's it's all you've done all of it. There's no that. I just love looking at that and the history of how many conference championships you've won and national championships and your bowl record and all that stuff. In Team Builder, I can't wait for Team Builder to drop. I'm so excited. I got a couple schools I'm already gonna make. I got our online dynasty Team Builder school ready. I got a separate one ready. Idea wise, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for Team Builder. I kind of want to see what I can do, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the options are.
I want to see what it looks like first, and what I can do. I was telling Dillon this before because I imagine, at least I'm hoping they'll have you see it in other games. You'll see names that you can pick where the announcers will actually say the name. I don't want to come out and be like the Daffodils. I don't know why that's the first name I thought of.
Or
they can't say Daffodils, and they're just
this team,
the home team.
Yeah, it takes away from the immersion. That's for sure.
I want to see what kind of names I can pick. I want to see. You can upload your own logos, but I'm not designing my own logo, so I got to find something good.
Yeah, that's what my old Team Builder. My old Team Builders, I just go on Google Images, see something that looks sick that didn't have a background to it, and then that's what I went with. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting.
I might rebuild in our Team Builder one. I might make Northern Arizona or Chicago.
Chicago would be a cool one. That'd be a cool one.
Obviously, they're real, so it'd be easy to just steal their logo real quick. But
a little insight for you, Gill. Drew knows this, but my first Team Builder in our online Team Builder series will be Cincinnati State University. I think we're going to join the American Conference. If we don't do the big commingled conference, I'll join the American Conference. Cincinnati Bearcats will obviously be my number one rival to start off with. And then it's a decision of, do I go to the Big Ten? Do I go to the SEC? Do I go to the ACC? I'm right there in the middle of all those conferences. I got to see which bid works for me and kind of where other people
Cincinnati into the Big 12.
could go to the Big 12 too. I've never really done a lot of Big 12 stuff back in the day, so that
A whole
you
new
know,
world.
could become the big, because I mean the Big 12 ain't really got a whole lot left of it, so I could become the king of the Big 12.
The
Get my
Pac-12 will probably let Northern Arizona in pretty early.
probably off the
They
rip.
need,
Yeah,
they need
Pac-2.
guys.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's a
the
whole
Pac-3.
conversation. What are we gonna do with the Pac-12? Are we just gonna load it up with a bunch of small schools or what?
Do we
But
realign everything back to what we think it should be?
I might not be opposed to realignment because it's getting a little crazy. But
Like
nonetheless, well,
having Oregon, USC, UCLA in the Big Ten
yeah,
just kind of, it's our
throws it
thing.
off.
So we should do what we want to do, right?
Right, exactly.
I think. I'm doing at least one Toledo dynasty.
Have to.
Yeah, exactly. Have to. For team builder, I might do a Dakota State was the game or the team that I was calling football, basketball for back in South Dakota, so might bring that up. Might do that. Just kind of, I want to see it. I don't want to get ahead of myself and
Yeah, because
I wanna allow it-
they've said team builder is simplistic, but like good enough to do the job. But it's like, again, this is the first year the game's coming out, so they focused on gameplay. They focused on their game modes. It'll get even better every release year. I mean, this is just the base, so I'm sure next year maybe team builder is what they focus on, and they make that mode go hard, or Road to Glory goes even harder, or whatever the case may be. So I'm
it
sure
sounds like they're listening to the fans. It
they
sounds
are.
like they're listening
Yeah.
to what we want, which is amazing to see because they don't do that with Madden. I'm really
Yeah.
glad they are doing
The
this.
fact
with
they
college
even
football
brought
25.
Team Builder back after it hasn't been, and you can't even create a team in Madden until
Yeah.
Well, they brought it back now.
They brought it back for the
So-
college football game, and then Madden's just like, oh yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, it's good. There's a little bit of focus there. Yeah, it's probably not priority one, but at least they're thinking about it. So
Yeah.
it can
I know
always
they're
be
still putting
improved.
Ultimate Team in there, but
Yeah,
I haven't heard much about
that's
Ultimate
their
Team.
moneymaker.
Yeah.
But even though it's in the game, there has been no deep dives on it. There's
No.
been no campus huddle blogs on it. It's in there. It'll be a mode, but
They know that we really
they're not
don't want it.
focusing on it. Yeah, they're not focusing on it, which is great.
So the haters
For now.
that keep saying that EA Sports doesn't know what they're doing, knock on wood, it seems
Yeah.
like they're getting it right.
Yeah.
And there's going to be bugs. The first
Yeah, it's not gonna
Monday,
be perfect.
Servers will not be available.
oh my God.
Yeah, there's no
It
way.
is-
Everyone's saying Monday at 4:00 when they boot it up. There ain't no way you're making it in the game
No.
Monday at 4:00. It's not happening.
Is that 4 Eastern?
I think. Yeah,
Dang, dude, I need to
get
come
that.
home.
Get that a half
1
day.
o'clock.
Get that half day. That's funny.
That's actually. Yeah, I'm not coming out.
4:00 on that Monday. Ooh, it's gonna be
Again-
tough. Computer will be on, but
That's a work from home day.
Cam and I have practice Monday, so as soon as I get home from practice, it's going to be all right. We're loading that up, and we're just going to
Yeah,
play
Yeah,
it.
don't
until-
show up to practice.
I might.
Tell Coach
Yeah.
Phil.
can't wait.
Hey, J. Phil, College Football 25 is coming out, so I'm not going to be there. I did take Friday off of work, though, so I will. The 19th,
I was thinking about that, but the fact that I'm already going to be playing it all week, I feel like I didn't need to take Friday off of work, and
I did it before
and what I planned
realized.
for Saturday and Sunday. So,
I'm just going to sacrifice my sleep during the week, and
I
it's gonna
took it off
basically be
before I
like I have-
realized
mhm.
yeah,
that it was going to
it's nice to have a day off though, and just
Yeah.
do whatever.
All right. What you got
All
for
right.
us, Dylan?
Yes. Let us move on, or else we'll talk about that for hours. So the quiz today, it is one of the quizzes that BDGE has done over a year ago, but it's a good one. So it's on it's on Sporkle. So I'll have to be typing them in as we go. But the score is 94 answers are on this. So we'll run through it. The timer's 15 minutes, but I'll put it on practice mode. So we'll go section by section. There's 3 sections here. The first one is most recent round 1 through 3 running back drafted by each team. That's number 1. Number 2 is the playoff leader in yards by year. This one is hard. I don't exactly know like what the answer will be because it doesn't say passing or anything. It just says the leader by yards. So we'll figure that out when we get there. And then the most recent first round QB drafted by each team. And this was last updated in December of 2023, so it does not have this most recent draft in it. So Bears will not be Caleb Williams, that sort of thing. But we can start. The most recent round 1 through 3 running back, the first team is the Packers. And I don't know the answers to these either, so I can play along.
I'll take Dillon.
That's what I was thinking was it is AJ Dillon. That is correct. Next team, Bears. It's probably Johnson.
Was that 3? Was he round 3?
It is not Johnson. I did get a different Johnson though later in the team.
Jordan Howard or
nope, not Jordan Howard.
who the heck?
Who's our other running back? Khalil Herbert didn't go high.
Montgomery.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is David Montgomery. All right. Vikings.
Cook.
No. It's not Madison, is it? It is Madison. It's Madison.
Really?
Lions.
There's some guys I don't know if they're 3 or 4.
Gibbs.
Lions is Gibbs. Bills is next, but that one is James Cook. That one popped up when I did it. Jets.
Oh, that'd be Hall.
Who?
Should be Breeze.
I thought you said Paul. I was just hoping it wasn't Abedi Kanda because I'm not typing that in. Dolphins. Probably Achan. It is Achan. Patriots.
Was that who's the guy?
Stevenson,
Ramondre Stevenson?
Stevenson. No?
Good job. No?
Has it got 2 E's in it? Stevenson.
Son. S-O-N.
Yeah,
S-T-E-V.
no. It's not Stevenson.
Okay.
Ooh.
Pierce.
Who do they used to have? White? Is that his last name?
It's not White. Yeah, is it Pierce Strong? I don't think he was a top 3.
He was that early.
No, he was like a 7th rounder. Ooh, that's a tough one. We can circle back to that. Saints is next.
Kamara?
It's not Kamara.
Who they drafted since?
Oof. Ingram?
Is he like
Mark
4th
Ingram.
round or something?
It's not Mark Ingram.
Kamara was
Who else did
round 3, I think, so it'd have to be after him.
Is it like this year? Didn't they take a running back this year?
It's
Yeah,
not
but
this
this
year.
year doesn't
in-
matter.
It's not this year. Golly. They did take a running back. Oh, what's his name? We're gonna have to come back to that one. I know his name. I'll think of it. Falcons. Bijan. Yep, Robinson's in there. Panthers. Is it Hubbard? It's not Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard.
You can try McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. It's not McCaffrey, at least the way I have it spelled.
Can you just type Christian? Would that pull it up?
I don't think so. His last name.
Who's in between them?
So they didn't draft Miles Sanders.
No, they draft.
Oh, you know what? Is the Patriots Sony Michel? No, it's not. That might have been a good guess.
It might have been.
It might have been. All right, we'll keep going. Ravens.
Dobbins.
It is Dobbins. Browns. It's got to be Chubb, right?
Chubb.
Bengals. Might be Mixon.
Mixon.
It is Mixon. Steelers. That's Najee. Oh, hey, Patriots was Damian Harris. Just popped up.
Oh.
All right. Chiefs. That's probably Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Hilaire. It's probably Edwards Hilaire, but I am not spelling it right. There's no way. Hey, I got it. Let's go. Raiders.
Is that
It's Josh Jacobs.
the Jacobs?
Yeah. Broncos. Is it Williams? It is
Javonte.
Williams. Chargers.
It's not like no.
Eckler was like an undrafted dude.
Yeah.
It's not Josh Kelly either. Is it Matthews? Didn't they have that Matthews dude a while ago?
Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, it's not him. Chargers might be hard. Seahawks is next.
Melvin Gordon for the Chargers.
Ooh.
There you go. Seahawks.
Is Seahawks Charbonnet or is it Walker?
Ooh, probably Charbonnet.
Jesus. Gonna make me look this one up. Zach Charbonnet? Bro, that's not how you spell that. The French, man. Always making it complicated. All right, 49ers.
Right?
It is right. 49ers.
They don't draft running backs anymore.
They don't. It's not Frank Gore. Had to try it.
Who's that
Carlos
backup they
Hyde.
had that was pretty good
Carlos
2
Hyde.
years ago?
Nope, not Carlos Hyde. Didn't they draft that dude out of Oregon?
Anthony Thomas.
The other one, Marshawn Lattimore. No, what was his
Lattimore's
name?
Corner.
And he's a South Carolina running back. What was his name? Anyway, we'll keep going. Rams is next. Probably Cam Akers. Yeah. Eagles, Miles Sanders. Giants, got to be Barkley. Cowboys.
It's either Zeke or Pollard. I can't remember what round Pollard was drafted in. He might have been third.
It is Zeke. Titans, got to be Henry. Oh, Titans is not Henry, but Henry came up for Spears. Is it Spears? All right, it's Tyjae Spears. But Derrick Henry did come up for the playoff leader yards.
Okay.
So maybe that's rushing. We'll see. Jaguars.
Leonard Fournette?
No, ETN.
Oh wait, ETN.
Come on, ETN.
2 ends.
I got two ends.
Which way is it? IE? It's like ETEI or IENNE.
It's not Travis Etienne.
Oh.
They just Tank Bigsby. Yeah, it's Tank Bigsby. Oof.
Yeah.
Colts. You can try
Taylor.
Yep, it is Jonathan Taylor. Texans.
Pierce? No, he wouldn't have gone that high.
Oh, I don't know.
Who else have they had? Dude? No one. Who's I always forget this dude's name. Who's the old
Arian Foster.
He was
Arian
undrafted,
Foster?
I think.
Was he?
Yeah. I didn't know that, but he's not the answer. So all right, we'll move on. Playoff leader yards by year. So the first one is 49ers 2022. And it's not McCaffrey because I've already typed in McCaffrey.
Debo.
But it's not Samuel.
Purdy.
Kittle.
This might be running backs, I'm guessing. Yeah, this is a running back list. So who was the 49ers running back in 2022? Wasn't it like Mostert?
I don't think so.
It was
They had a couple backup guys that were pretty good.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember their name.
Okay, so it's not running backs only because the next one is Rams 2021 of Cooper Kupp.
All right.
So
Would
that
it be Ayuk? No,
Ayuk or Kittle?
it's not Kittle. It's 2022, so it's 2 years
Who else
ago.
would they have had?
I don't know. I'm moving on. Buccaneers 2020.
Evans.
What's his Evans? It's not Evans.
Goodwin.
It's not
it's
Goodwin.
Did you type good or God?
Good. God. It's not Godwin. This category is hard, dude.
That was playoff Lenny that year. Is it Fournette?
I probably am typing that wrong.
How to spell that?
I'm skipping this category, man. This category sucks. I got Steelers.
I just don't understand what we're looking for.
I know.
I got Steelers 2016. It's Le'Veon Bell, but they didn't even go to the Super Bowl. So it's just any team that year that had a guy that got a lot of yards. Okay, moving on. Most recent first round quarterback drafted. Packers. Jordan Love.
Love.
Oh, is it gonna make me scroll down every time? No, it's not. Okay. Bears. So this should be Fields. Vikings.
Bridgewater. Teddy.
It is. Lions. Stafford. Bills. Allen. Jets.
Wilson.
Dolphins. Oh my gosh. No way, dude.
Have fun spelling Tua.
Yeah. Copy paste from Google.
Yeah, copy paste. All right, Patriots. Jones. Oh, there's another Daniel Jones on there too. All right, Saints. Saints haven't drafted a first round QB in 50 years. I think that's their whole thing.
Is it Archie Manning?
It is Archie Manning. You got it. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew it was. They haven't been forever. Falcons.
Matt Ryan.
It's got to be Ryan, right? Yep. Panthers.
Cam.
Newton. Why can't I think of his last name? It's Bryce Young.
Oh, that year.
Did you say Cam Newton?
I was thinking that year wasn't.
It feels recent, like it wouldn't count.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston for the Buccaneers. Ravens. Was Flacco the guy?
Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Two-time MVP
okay.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, whatever.
Put some respect on his name.
Browns. Mayfield.
There's plenty to pick
Bengals.
from.
Burrow. There's Steelers.
Pickett.
Roethlisberger. Nope.
Pickett, dude.
Did you spell it wrong or is that wrong?
It's Pickett. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I blanked that out, remember? It never happened. Chiefs. Mahomes. Raiders. I spelled Roethlisberger, though, just for the record.
Who did they have? Not too long.
It's not like they've drafted one since DeMarcus Russell, right?
Did they draft Derek Carr?
They did.
He was
but
second
it's not
round.
him.
Derek Carr was second.
Oh yeah, this is first only.
It is Jamarcus Russell. Look at that. Broncos.
Paxton Lynch.
Oh, yeah. I remember him. Chargers.
Herbo.
Herbert.
Free J Herbo. Seahawks. It's going to be like Matt Hasselbeck or something. No. Oh.
I don't even know who was on the team before Russell Wilson got there. Who was quarterback against the Steelers in the Super Bowl?
Matt Hasselbeck.
Is that him?
They had like a Tavarius Jackson or something like that.
No, not him. I do remember him, though. Seneca Wallace. Is that a dude? That's a name. God, it's going to be a guy from so long ago. We can move on. 49ers is next. Uh-oh. This might not be good. That might be the end, but we'll keep going.
We'll see.
49ers.
49ers would be Trey Lance.
You're right. Cardinals, Murray.
Yep.
Rams, Goff. Commanders. Welcome back. Recording is 100% ruined now.
Audio's cooked. No, it said it was fine when it
All
kicked
right.
me out.
All right. Commanders.
Would
is
that
who
be
we're on.
RG3?
Probably. No.
Drafted one since.
No, it's Sam Howell.
No, he's not a first rounder.
Oh yeah, he was fifth.
Remember the rules,
Yeah.
man.
Listen.
Dude leaves for like
that
2
was-
seconds.
Listen. Everyone said he was going to go first round, and that was the worst year for quarterbacks of all time.
So it's got to be after RG3. So it's someone that's recent.
Dwayne Haskins.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, duh.
R.I.P.
Eagles. Is that Wentz? Yep. Cowboys.
Troy Aikman.
Wow. Titans.
Mariota.
My mind immediately went to Vince Young. Jaguars. Lawrence. Colts. Richardson.
Luck.
Richardson.
Oh yeah, because I keep. Damn it.
Texans will be Stroud. So we almost cleared that board. We just are missing the Seahawks. If anyone has any last minute guesses for that, the running backs, we are missing the Saints, the Panthers, the 49ers, the Texans. I know who the Saints is. I just cannot think of his name. So that's on me. The other one's playoff leader by yards. If we want to just throw a couple names out there, there's the Patriots.
I got $5
yeah,
that
I'm
nobody
not
would
doing
guess
that.
Seahawks quarterback.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that category. Category's stupid.
I looked up the Seahawks one.
Emmitt Smith and Steve Smith is 4 of them. All right, I'll hit give up here. So, all right. So, I got to add. Kendre Miller is the Saints. I knew that. Panthers was McCaffrey. I guess it just didn't like how I spelled McCaffrey, but I spelled it exactly the same.
Figure out how to spell.
Texans was Dante Foreman. 49ers was Tyrion Davis Price.
What?
Tyrion Davis Price. Drafted in 2022.
Out of Auburn.
Never heard of it.
LSU running back.
It's right on the conference.
Fake news.
All right. Never heard of that dude in my life. The quarterback was Rick Mirer. So, of the Seahawks.
1993.
We were never getting that. So, playoff leader by yards. So, it was McCaffrey for the 49ers, Fournette, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, C.J. Anderson, T.Y. Hilton, Marshawn Lynch, Ray Rice, Hakeem Nicks, James Starks, Sean Green, Larry Fitzgerald, Lawrence Maroney, Joseph Adai, Steve Smith, Brian Westbrook, Steve Smith, Charlie Garner, Marshall Faulk, Jamal Lewis, Eddie George, Terrell Davis, Nantrone Means, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. There's your quiz. There's your quiz. It's more of a fun activity. So nobody wins. Nice. We all win. We all lose.
Or do we all lose?
Yes.
I think we did all right.
Not bad.
Those were weird.
No, we didn't do bad.
Out of the 94, we got 67, but out of the categories we actually did, we only missed 4.
Couple. Yeah.
We got 2/3.
We'll take it. All right. Next time you see all of us, we will have played college football 25. And it's going to be glorious.
That's great.
We'll see when we finally do that. When we finally do get together.
Every podcasting game is going to be playing video games.
Nice knowing you guys.
We will be on the party chat. That'll be true party chat sports fashion. Yeah.
But thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you are looking forward to college football 25 as much as we are. Hope you continue to enjoy our content as we get closer to not just college football season, but NFL season. Training camp I want to say Jets starts like July 24th or something like that.
I feel like one started like this week too. I feel like I saw.
Close.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Thank you everybody for joining. Make sure you watch, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you get your podcast, anywhere and everywhere at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, have a great weekend. Have a great week. Peace.
Peace.